What's the scariest moment of your past that you can think of? Two things come to my mind. Being a kid in the checkout line with my mom, and then my mom saying those 4 words, "I'll be right back." Another scary moment is when I was a kid and I was going to sleep. I felt a tickle on my chest. I lifted up my blanket only to find a big old spider right near my chest. I threw the blanket, started screaming, and woke up the whole house. Needless to say, I couldn't sleep in that bed for weeks after. Scary moments can vary to many circumstances: health complications, relationship betrayals, career, education, and literally anything else. Something that helps me is understanding that God knows that life on a broken planet can leave us shaking in our boots in fear of various outcomes. He understands. He sees us. Isaiah 7 is a passage that includes the sign of Emmanuel. In this chapter, we find the famous Christmas quote, "The virgin will conceive and give birth to a son, and we will call him Emmanuel." But at the beginning of this chapter, we read about the hearts of Ahaz and his people were shaken, as the trees of the forest are shaken by the wind. You can read verse 1 and see that they were shaken because they marched up to fight against Jerusalem, but they couldn't overpower it. Isaiah described the hearts of the king and the people of Judah as shaking, as the trees of the forest shake. We read in verse 4, God speaking through Isaiah, "Be careful, keep calm, and don't be afraid." God wanted them to stand firm in their faith in him, even when their circumstances don't make sense. We can't control most situations, but we can always choose our posture and our response in the midst of them. God doesn't want us to faint in fear, but rather to stand firm in our faith and in the promises God has given us. Oftentimes, when we get scared, we tend to react instead of being careful, staying calm, and responding in faith. And I'm not saying responding in faith is easy. It's often really hard. But the Lord tells us to slow down, allow some time for emotions to run their course, to mellow out, to be careful, keep calm, don't be afraid, and don't lose heart. We can fight against God as we experience difficulty, or we can cling to him with a calm assurance that his power is greater. Fear will attack us, but when we cling to God's love and his word, we can actually cast out fear. So, while we may not have armies coming after us, life is full of scary moments, heartaches, and headaches that threaten to get the best of us. God calls out to us to stand firm in faith rather than faint in fear.